There's a point in life where something inside you just, stops. You stop explaining yourself, you stop chasing people, you stop caring about being understood. Not because you're tired, but because you finally see how things truly are. You realize that most people don't really listen. They wait for their turn to, speak. Most people don't value. They just consume. Most people don't stay. They use what they need and leave when they're done. So you learn to go quiet, not weak, not empty, just quiet. And in that silence, something kind of shifts. You begin to rely on yourself. You begin to trust your own hands. You begin to see your own strength. And that's where the cold begins. Not from hate, from clarity. You didn't start this way. You weren't born cold. You weren't born hard. You weren't born distant. Life shaped you. Pain carved you into something different. A loss molded you into something unrecognizable. Betrayal taught you silence. You used to care. You used to hope. You used to trust. But pain has a way of changing a person. Not all at once, slowly, quietly, like frost creeping across warm skin. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't warn you. It settles in your bones. You started learning the truth. When you give too much, people take. When you show your heart, people wound it. When you open your hands, they fill them with weight and call it love. And you carried that weight for so long until your chest grew heavy. Until your mind grew tired. Until your heart went numb. No one noticed, no one asked, no one cared. Because the world only respects strength. And honestly, nobody recognizes strength until it's finished. Now you look at the world differently. Not with hatred, not with rage, but with a calm so deep it frightens people. Because you stopped expecting anything. You stopped expecting loyalty, stopped expecting honesty, stopped expecting people to stay. You learned that promises are cheap, words are empty, presence is temporary. When you stop expecting, you stop breaking. That's where your cold was born. Not from weakness, not from bitterness, but from understanding. You realize no one is coming to save you. No one is going to carry your ambition for you. No one is going to fight your battles in your place. So, you did it yourself. You fought alone. You bled alone. You healed alone. Your victories were silent. Your wounds were silent. Your growth was silent. But silence is where warriors are built. And now you stand different, are calmer, sharper, more controlled, not quick to react, not eager to respond. Not desperate to be understood. Your power is quiet. Your strength is internal. Your focus is unshakable. People think cold means heartless, but the truth is simple. Cold means you finally learned to stop burning for people who never warmed you. You didn't lose your heart. You protected it. You didn't lose your compassion. You learned who deserves it. You didn't lose your fire. You learned where to aim it. That's growth. That's maturity. That's power. Everyone wants strength. But nobody wants what creates it. The nights where you questioned your worth. The mornings where you dragged yourself out of bed when everything hurt. The battles no one saw. The tears no one knew. Pain didn't break you. It sharpened you. It burned everything weak inside of you until only steel remained. Now you move different. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't cling. You don't explain. You observe. You endure. You adapt. You rise. Your silence is not emptiness. It is discipline. Your distance is not loneliness. It is protection. Your coldness is not cruelty. It is clarity. You are no longer moved by words, only by actions, only by consistency, only by respect. Now they look at you and say, "You changed." No, you didn't change. You return to yourself, the version before the world hurt you, the version that didn't bend to fit into places you were never meant to be. You didn't go cold because you stopped feeling. You went cold because you finally learned to control what you feel. And that is real strength. They can think what they want. They can, talk how they want. They can assume anything they want. You know the truth. Nothing they did broke you. It only woke you. You don't feel the way you used to. And that's not tragedy. That's evolution. Because evolution is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for applause. It happens in the shadows, in the nights where your body ate but you kept going, in the days where you felt empty but still stood tall, in the moments when you could have given up but didn't. Growth is silent, but the transformation is loud. And now your presence speaks before you do. People can feel it, even if they can't explain it, even if they try to downplay it, even if they pretend not to notice. They feel the difference in your walk, your breath, your silence, and your eyes. Because there is a certain stillness in those who have survived themselves, a calm that is mistaken for coldness, a calm built from standing in the battlefield of your own mind and refusing to die there. Let me tell you something harsh. Not everyone survives that. Most people collapse under the weight of their own doubts. Most people break when the world stops clapping. Most people crumble when life stops being gentle. But you didn't. You kept going, even when it didn't make sense, even when you had no one, even when you felt nothing. And that separates you from the rest. People think strength is loud. They think strength is shouting, showing, proving. But real strength is quiet, like the steadiness before a storm, like the breath before a strike, like the moment the world realizes. You're not the same. You didn't just grow stronger. You grew impossible to break because you learned the truth. No one is obligated to understand you. No one is required to support you. No one is guaranteed to stay, but you are still responsible for rising. And you did. Even if you were shaking, even if you were bleeding, even if the world tried to convince you that you were nothing, you rose anyway. That's power. Not the kind that needs to be seen, not the kind that needs to be praised, but the kind that can't be taken away, the kind that is built within. And now your silence is not empty. It is full of lessons, full of scars, full of victories the world will never know. Your silence holds everything you survived, and that silence, it is louder than any roar, because inside you now lives something unshakable, a will that refuses to die. A focus that doesn't break, a fire that no one can extinguish. You learned that pain is a teacher, not a punishment. You learned that loss is direction, not defeat. You learned that loneliness is not emptiness, it is refinement. Because when you were alone, you met yourself. Not the version shaped by others. Not the version seeking approval. Not the version begging to be understood. The real you, the one who was buried under noise, under expectations, under fear. That version stood up, walked out, took control. That version stopped seeking permission to exist. And from that moment on, you didn't need validation. You didn't need recognition. You didn't need applause, because you finally understood something most people never will. Your worth is not determined by who sees it. Your value is not dependent on who stays. Your strength is not influenced by who believes in it. Your power exists because you do, and now you move differently. Not because you are cold, but because you are clear. You don't waste words. You don't waste effort. You don't waste yourself. You're done giving energy to things that drain you. You're done chasing what doesn't respect you. You're done proving your heart to those who never deserve to hold it. This is not bitterness. This is awareness. This is what happens when someone finally returns to themselves. You are no longer fueled by fear. You are fueled by purpose. No longer driven by emotions, driven by discipline. No longer controlled by the past, guided by experience. This is where real power begins, when you master yourself, when you can sit in silence and not fear it,